One of the most intriguing sights which one frequently confronts in many Asian countries is a pile of tiny wooden cages holding little birds. You see them outside temples or in public areas. People buy these caged birds, but unlike other places where they are bought at a pet store to be taken home and enjoyed, these little birds are purchased specifically so that the buyer can release them back into the wild. They believe that it is a great act of mercy to free captives, and so people do this in order to do a good deed and gain merit for themselves. When I first saw this some years ago, I was fascinated by the concept and loved the idea of this ritual, which, in physically freeing the imprisoned little creatures, also freed the soul of the liberator. What a wonderful idea! I suddenly wanted to buy up all the little cages and set all their little prisoners free. I wanted to do that for all the world, freeing all the caged birds I found. Oh, but I didn't want to stop with the birds. I wanted to release every creature, animal or human. I wanted to break all the chains. I wanted to liberate all thoughts and feelings and ideas and give free rein to everything the human spirit is capable of. What a noble thing! Start with freeing these birds. A very enlightened practice. The more I thought about it, though, the more I saw and the more I heard, the less I liked this seemingly charitable practice, this noble ritual of liberation. When it started centuries ago, it was indeed a noble thing, and was done with the purest of motives. People saw fellow creatures confined in unnatural cages and wanted to give them the freedom to fly as they had been made to fly. But as with many rituals, this one too became corrupted with time, losing its original meaning and value. A whole industry arose of catching these little birds over and over again as soon as they were released, so that they could be bought and released once again, each time serving only to make somebody feel good about themselves while making a profit for someone else, but not helping the birds at all. No longer were they being released in order to be free, in order to soar to the heights of which they were capable. They were being released right back into the net, to be entrapped again, to be caged again, to continue the terrible cycle of captivity and oppression which has become the basis of human world order. Wouldn't it be much better and so much more pleasing to the God of all compassion not to put the poor little things into cages in the first place? Jesus saw many things around him, many laws and many customs, which had begun as good things, liberating things for the human spirit, but which had over the centuries lost their original meaning and become stifling and oppressive. He came to perfect the old law, came to show us the way that would truly liberate, release us from slavery, and allow us to soar to new heights as children of God. All around us we see cages, and their prisoners are not only little birds. Human slavery is a very real presence in the world of today, and it comes in many forms. The reality of human trafficking is one of its more blatant manifestations, but there are other chains and other cages just as oppressive. The majority of the human race is enslaved to a master called poverty, a master whose slaves are kept down and slowly, or not so slowly, starved to death. But there are many other cages too, many other chains. How many, migrants and refugees in particular, languish in the chains of separation and loneliness, existing but not really living in a cage that has become for them an isolation cell. Then there is that even more insidious oppression of the spirit, which keeps people in the chains of ignorance by denying them access to truth, education, enlightenment, feeding them lies to reinforce their stupidity, hatreds, and prejudices. This is certainly a scourge of underdeveloped places with dreadfully inadequate education systems. But I have also witnessed under totalitarian regimes the deliberate manipulation of the truth through a steady diet of propaganda and misinformation and the blocking of any access to real information. Modern mass media can be a master at this. Fanatical fundamentalist belief systems can also enslave. We have seen this in so many cults, often with tragic results. We have seen it in the all too frequent perversion of religion, any religion, for power and control. But we have also seen it in the equally fanatical systems of atheism and materialism as practiced in some of the more doctrinaire communistic countries in our lifetime. Slavery comes in many forms, and cages come in various shapes and sizes. Like those little birds, we too are kept in cages. Sometimes we are held down, held back by others. Sometimes we are not allowed to realize our full potential. But most of us find ourselves in cages of our own making. How many find themselves slaves to their own possessions, their own wealth, however meager? How many addictions or obsessions can take over our life completely, whether the addiction be to drugs, or computers, or work, or pleasures? Cages, all of them. Sometimes we make a cage to hold somebody else down, and it ends up trapping us inside. Cages. And then there is that huge cage that is perhaps the most confining of all, the notion that we are not good enough. The time has come to set those little birds free. The time has come to free the spirit, to liberate it from its captivity and allow it to attain the heights of which it is capable. The time has come to stop being content with opening a token cage once in a while to make ourselves feel good, and rather stop putting people into cages to begin with. The time has come to end the cycle of slavery, to break the chains, burst the bars, open the cages, and smash them forever. The time has come for birds to fly, for souls to soar, for you and me to live as we were made to live.